Hi, I'm Cindy Bertram. Thanks for joining me today on Good Ship Happens. And today is a very special day. Yes, time to go to Ireland, right? Because it is St. Patrick's Day. It's a tradition. So I'm not really wearing green, but you can find green in different places too. And there's some wonderful things going on, of course, in the cruise industry right now, along with different ships and things too. But once again, it's just I want to wish you a happy St. Patrick's Day, however you actually celebrate it. Whether you're going to have corned beef, yes, which I'll have to do later on. That's kind of a tradition. And also, what happened last weekend is it's a tradition in Chicago. What they do is they actually dye the river green. I've been to it before, wasn't there last weekend, but it looks beautiful, and they dye the river green, which is so much fun. And they have their St. Patrick's Day actually parade going on that day too. It was actually last Saturday. I missed it, but once again, it's a great way to really celebrate different things because we need that more than ever, and just kind of build some excitement too, as far as communities and things too. One thing that just came up this past week too is actually we have different conferences in the travel and cruise industry, and one that is going on right now is actually ASTA, they're the American Society of Travel Advisors. They've been around for a long time. It's a great organization. What they are doing right now is they actually have their River Cruise Conference going on right now in Budapest, which is great. And it's focusing on the river cruise industry over in Europe, which is great. So a lot of people are there. They have like 750 guests there, travel advisors, also representatives from the different river cruise lines there too. But it looks like it was absolutely phenomenal. Didn't get a chance to go this year, but definitely that is on my list as far as next year because they do some wonderful things. As far as the river cruise industry, we have river cruise lines that sail out of Europe, of course, as well as ones that sail out of the U.S. But once again, that seems like it was just a phenomenal conference. It's still going on, and they're focusing on the river cruise industry, which is really a fantastic way to explore Europe, especially because once again, tours are great, but if you take a river cruise in Europe, the benefit is the ship is your hotel, so to speak. What they do is, as mentioned, they do fly you in the day before, prior, usually provide you with a free night hotel, and then you get on their river cruise line ship, and you sail to different beautiful destinations throughout Europe. You can pick and choose which ones you want to go to, of course, with the different rivers over in Europe. But what they do is then you get off, you're right there, you get off, explore different things, and then you get back on the ship, and the ship takes you to the next destination. So it's really a great way, I think, to really experience Europe, and definitely on my list too, because once again, not that taking a tour in Europe is bad, but once again, you have to actually stay at a hotel, unpack, explore that area. Then you have to go to another hotel. So once again, it just makes it a little bit more hectic as far as having to go to one place, experience it, but then go to another area, and you change hotels usually every couple days. It's kind of more work. In this case, like I mentioned, the cruise ship itself is your hotel. It takes you to different places. And they have special celebrations too. But once again, this conference that American Society of Travel Advisors is doing this week, they're finishing up, I think, this weekend. It's just a phenomenal one. And it's a great way for people to experience Europe in new ways, which is great. So that's something that was just really, really fun this week I want to mention. As far as having any kind of traditions, of course, you think about St. Patrick's Day and, of course, going Irish, yes. And there are some cruise lines that do special events too to celebrate St. Patrick's Day too, which is really, really good. Something else that just came up this week was actually we have different cruise lines out there, and one is actually Windstar Cruises. They share that they're 180 degrees from ordinary, and they're not ordinary. Windstar Cruises is a fantastic cruise line, smaller ships, and what they do is they just announced this week they've got new whole food, plant-based menus in partnership with the National Health Association. And that just kind of came up this week. I think it's a great announcement because once again, when you go on a ship, depending on your needs, you kind of pick and choose as far as the food and cuisine. But once again, This is a wonderful announcement that Windstar Cruises, they just partnered with the National Health Association, and they're creating a new vegan menu on board all of their 6 small ship yacht sailings and their smaller ships yacht type experiences too. And what they do is they're going to be rolling out their program fleet-wide this June, and vegetarian options, as well as the line's existing menu items, are going to be continued to be served as well too. But it was really great because, once again, it's just something new that they're bringing. For instance, sample dishes from the new menu. They mentioned a couple. They'll have daily smoothies for breakfast. They've got roasted butternut squash with baked pumpkin seeds. They've got baked cauliflower croquettes with salsa and sauteed spinach. That was another one they mentioned. Some other ones they mentioned were veggie enchiladas with black bean and cilantro sauce. They also have chia seed truffles with dates and coconut sauce. Another, which I thought was really kind of fun, actually not funny, fun, is tahini brownies with fresh strawberries. They've also got a penne regatta pasta with crisp vegetables and special pepper sauce. And it's just really fun that they're working closely with the National Health Association and their culinary team at Windstar Cruises to create these special Windstar developed recipes that meet the organization's standards when it comes to exclusive whole plant-based food diet and lifestyle. So once again, when you take a cruise, the cuisine is absolutely phenomenal. I mean, I've got one culinary chef. He's actually with Han America Group, but he's got different restaurants he has on different ships, including Sandamar, which was just launched on the new Celebrity Celebration last fall. But Chef Rudy Sutterman is really a fantastic chef, and I tell people sometimes his cuisine is almost too pretty to eat. And you see a different focus on different kinds of culinary options on board cruise ships. But this just came out this week, and I really think it's important to share this because, once again, it's a great way for people, if they're changing the way they want to eat and prevent and reverse diet-related disease, why not do it by having a healthy lifestyle while also sailing on the trip of a lifetime on Windstar Cruises? So once again, I thought this was really a phenomenal thing to share because, once again, when you think about eating healthy, well, you think about cruise ships. I might eat too much, but you can pick and choose, and this is just another great option that Windstar just announced this week. So I want to share that. That's really important to share positive things like this too, because, once again, as I tell people, yes, good ship happens. Something else that came up is there are a lot of new ships coming out this year, and I'll share more. But once again, American Cruise Lines is a U.S.-based cruise line in the U.S., and they're family-owned, but they've got a new series of ships that they're building, and they actually have also separately the company that actually builds their ships too, which is fantastic. And they just announced some information about their newest ships, which is, I think, good to share today too, because they just announced that their American Legend, which is their 4th new coastal cat, they call it a coastal cat, but it's River Cruise Line ship, is in their Project Blue series of ships. And they first announced this in February 2022. And as mentioned, their Project Blue series of ships are going to be 12 small ships designed to sail almost any domestic cruise itinerary, and 100 guests on board the American Legend. Yes, just 100 guests. Is built for coastal operation, as well as featuring innovative new full designs, which is a hallmark of the series. And the American Cruise Line's new coastal cats are being built by Chesapeake Shipbuilding in Salisbury, and that's also a separate company that the family owns, as well as American Cruise Lines. And they've got the first 3 ships in this series of ships, the American Eagle, the American Glory, and the American Liberty, are scheduled to actually begin sailing within the next 12 months. Yes. And then the American Legend will begin cruising the U.S. in late 2024, and she's actually the 19th new small ship within American Cruise Line's fleet. So that was great because with American Cruise Lines, as mentioned, they're U.S. owned, family owned too. Great story. And what they've done is they've grown in the past several years too, which is great. And it's really, I think, shown the resurgence of interest as far as the cruise market in the United States of America in the past 5 years. And the company's actually nearly tripled their fleet by introducing new innovative smaller ships too, which is great. And the company itself, American Cruise Line, forgive me, is the only cruise line in the world to operate 100% U.S. flagged ships. So this is American Cruise Line. And they're the only one in the world that actually operates 100% U.S. flagged ships, both river boats, of course, and small ship cruises. And the only cruise line in the country to really offer 100% U.S. itineraries along both the rivers as well as the coast, which is great too. And the American Legend, which will be coming out in 2024, as mentioned, is like her sister ships. She'll feature many different types of staterooms, 56 staterooms and suites. And also there'll be also a furnished private balcony, which is great because then you can see out, which is great too. And this nimble go anywhere ship will also have spacious lounges and inside and out too. And also an open air top deck for spectacular views, which is really fantastic. Multiple dining venues too. And their ship's unique hull form also allows for a wide range of platform activities too. At the stern, equipped with kayaks. Yes, you can go kayaking if you want to. And is really the only cruise line in the country, as mentioned, to offer 100% itineraries based in rivers and coasts. And once again, there's also, besides the kayaks, as I mentioned, there's a large tender for in-depth adventures directly from the ship too, which is great. So once again, think about if you want to sail within the U.S. rivers along coastal cruises, definitely consider American Cruise Lines because they're a fantastic company and the growth is just such a phenomenal effort they're doing too, but in a very, very positive way. So that's really good too. And they just announced more about their new ship coming out, American Legend, in 2024. Something else that's really good too is it goes back to another special celebration. Yes. Okay, Carnival Cruise Lines. Yes. They just launched their newest ship in last fall of 2022, the Carnival Celebration on November 20th. I was there for the christening. It was great. And Carnival's actually been around in existence for 50 years now, over 50 years. But what came up too is since their first maiden voyages in 1972, yes, 1972, they go back 50 years now, going on 51 years, Carnival actually has become the first cruise line to embark 100 million passengers since its maiden voyages back in 1972. And what they did was to celebrate, Christine Duffy, who is their president, actually visited the Carnival Sunrise Thursday during her embarkation of guests at Port Miami. And that's where the company is actually founded over 50 years ago. She thanked cruisers for choosing fun and making it the world's most popular cruise line. But to actually have this special milestone is just so exciting and wonderful. Another good example of Good Ship Happens. The milestone was actually commemorated by Debbie and David Clifford of Ohio, who boarded the ship with their family. They were recognized on behalf of the 100 million cruisers with a fanfare from Christine Duffy, the president, and the crew, and showing photos of 100 million guests too. And Christine Duffy mentioned this milestone was really a testament of fun and also the inclusive atmosphere that they value the guests and their team members for the past 51 years now. And there's certainly more fun to come too, because once again, Carnival does have some new ships coming out. Besides the Carnival Celebration, which debuted in November of last year, November 20th, from the Port of Miami, the Carnival Venezia is going to expand Lions New York offerings, offering seasonal to year-round with Carnival's Got the Fun style. And then later on this year, the Carnival Jubilee, which is a sister of the Carnival Celebration and the Carnival Mardi Gras, actually begins sailing from Galveston. And then the Carnival Firenze, which is a sister ship of their Carnival Venezia, is going to be sailing spring of 2024, offering year-round cruises from Long Beach, California. So once again, you think about cruising, well, where can you cruise from? Well, there's so many different places, which is great because once again, New York has been growing. And MSC Cruises, as mentioned, is going to be offering their MSC Meraviglia sailing from New York year-round starting in March, which is great. April, yes. And also, as mentioned, with the Carnival Venezia, it's going to be offering year-round cruises from Long Beach, California. Galveston is another port that has been growing like crazy because, once again, later on this year, the Carnival's other ship, Carnival Jubilee, their new ship, is going to be sailing from Galveston, Texas. So it's definitely something to keep in mind, too. And once again, it's great when you see Carnival's, Carnival Cruise Lines celebrate different things, their 50th anniversary, and now going into 51 years of success, which is great, but also actually having 100 million cruisers that have cruised on Carnival Cruise Line since they started back in 1972 is definitely a wonderful thing to celebrate more than ever this year because, once again, another great example of good ship happens. Yes. So it was fun. I want to share that, too, because, once again, there's so many wonderful things coming up this year, too. Something else is another cruise line, which is actually Crystal Cruises. They've been around for a long time. And then when the pandemic hit, unfortunately, the parent company that actually bought Crystal Cruises, they'd grown like crazy. Had some issues, they shut down. Well, what happened was Crystal Cruises actually was purchased by another company, and they are restarting it, which is so exciting. And they're restarting it with a sailing coming out this summer. And Crystal Cruises is a luxury cruise line. What they did was they have two ships they're sailing now on, the Crystal Serenity, and their other ship is the Crystal Symphony. I had a chance to sail on the Crystal Serenity myself back in 2016, and it was definitely a wonderful luxury experience. I had actually put clients before on Crystal Cruises, and to actually experience it myself was really, really wonderful because, once again, they're not big ships. They have maybe 600-700 guests on board, and it was just very high in luxury. Everything was included, just wonderful as far as the dining options and just exploring things, different areas to see the ship from. And we were able to dock different places too. But what they did was they've got something just announced this week is actually they've got their master chef, Nobu. He's an award-winning culinary chef, but what he's doing is he's actually returning with his popular, I think it's pronounced Uma by Nobu Matsushita restaurant and the sushi bar. And it's going to be actually on board the Crystal Serenity and also the Crystal Symphony. And it was just a wonderful, happy moment when I heard he's coming back on their ships, their two ships, because, once again, he actually provides, his cuisine includes classic dishes that are created by his well-known legendary chef, Nobu. And it's a beautiful setting, too. I actually had a chance to dine there when I sailed on the Crystal Serenity myself, too. And once again, guests will be able to dine on signature entrees, including black cod, a grilled Chilean sea bass, special beef fillet steak, and the sushi, which is great, too. So once again, they just announced this week. It was another wonderful celebration, too, because, once again, his cuisine was fabulous when I tried it before, and it's coming back. So that's just another wonderful positive thing that we're seeing now today in the cruise industry. And as mentioned, Crystal Cruises, their official first sailing is going to be coming up this July on the Crystal Serenity. And it's great because, once again, guests on board Crystal Cruises will be able to enjoy one complimentary reservation on board his restaurant during the cruise for sailings of 11 days or less. And then for sailings of more than 11 days on Crystal Cruises, guests will actually be able to enjoy 2 complimentary reservations, which are included, which is great. If you want to actually do more, they will actually have a small surcharge. Once again, it's great because it's really high-end cuisine and just specialty dining too, and just a wonderful experience because I think we need that more than ever. Something else that's been kind of a trend lately has been the launch of pickleball on different cruise lines. I've never played pickleball myself. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but it's really high-end type of energy, type of entertainment. You can actually, it's a little bit different than playing tennis, but pickleball's been taking over like crazy. And I know that Royal Caribbean just announced they've got pickleball on some of their ships coming out too, which is great. So I think it's good to kind of share that information too, because it seems like it's very, very hot type of thing for people to want to explore. And you can actually play pickleball now on different cruise ships. I've never played it myself before, but it looks like it's really phenomenal and definitely seems like more than just a growing trend. It's just growing like crazy too. But people love it like crazy, which is great. But like I said, Royal Caribbean just announced it this week that they got pickleball on some of their ships. I'm sure they will actually be having that on the new ship coming out this next year, Icon of the Seas. And I'll keep you posted on that too. And something else that came up too is, as far as cruise ships, I mentioned before in a previous episode about Celebrity Cruises and their Ascent ship coming out this November. And that's the one that has actually the big announcement was back on January, end of January, was having the 2 co-captains as captain of the Celebrity Ascent. Yes, they're brothers. And they announced it end of January, and I featured that on my January 27th episode. But with the Celebrity Ascent, which is actually the newest celebrity ship coming out later on this fall, what they did was they actually announced just yesterday that the Celebrity Ascent is going to be debuting a little bit sooner than they had planned. What they did was they just announced yesterday that the Celebrity Ascent is going to operate 2 preview cruises prior to her maiden voyage, which is coming up in November. What they're doing is there's a 4-night Western Caribbean itinerary that's going to depart from Port Everglades on November 22nd to Cozumel for the U.S. Thanksgiving holiday, which is great. And then they're going to have a 3-night Bahamas cruise departing from Port Everglades on November 26th, which is great. So they just announced this. So once again, they're actually offering people a chance to sail on the ship on 2 shorter cruises prior to her official christening, which is going to take place, of course, her main voyage is in November. And it's actually the 4th Edge-class ship, and it's the twin sister of their 2022 Celebrity Beyond. And it looks like it's such a beautiful ship too. And once again, it really is more of a concept of having that relaxed luxury resort at sea. And once again, it's really good that Celebrity Cruises is offering that sneak peek to what the Celebrity Ascent is going to be offering. And of course, the 2 co-captains, of course, will be driving the ship, so to speak, which is great too. But once again, they just made this announcement yesterday, which I think is very, very exciting because once again, with Celebrity Cruises, they really just provide a great experience, and they include several different things. Their ships are gorgeous and different ways to really explore the Caribbean areas too. Great. And once again, too, with Celebrity Cruises, as mentioned before, beyond having the 2 co-captains, which is new, I don't think of any other cruise line that actually has 2 captains that are actually captains of one of their ships. Also with Celebrity Cruises, as mentioned, they still have the only American woman female captain of their cruise ship. That's Captain Kate McHugh, which is great too. But that's just kind of fun too when you think about different things that they're doing too, because once again, there are wonderful things coming out in the cruise industry, a lot of fantastic things too. And it's good to share those too, because once again, there are a lot of choices out there. But once again, just think about what you want to do, where you want to go, because there's so many options out there. If you want to take a cruise in the U.S., you can. American Cruise Lines is one example. American Queen Voyages is another example, because once again, they sail within the rivers and the lakes, also coastal cruises too. And with American Cruise Lines, they're family owned, which is great. And they also own the the shipyard that builds their ships is a separate company, but on the same family, which is great. And they're doing some wonderful things too, because once again, if people would prefer to explore things in the U.S., a great way to do it, honestly, would be actually to do a river cruise. And once again, river cruises in the U.S. with American Cruise Lines and also with American Voyages, they include everything. Also, their shore excursions are included, usually at least one, but it's great because they can actually dock in different areas and get a chance to see different areas. One example, of course, is, if you want to go south, you can go down to, of course, Mississippi River, which is great. And you can visit New Orleans, different places like that too, or other areas of Tennessee. But once again, it's another option if you prefer to sail on the beautiful rivers of the United States to see more of the United States too, because it does really fill a need too. And we've got a lot of new ships coming out too, which is great. As mentioned, I mentioned some new ones. Of course, Celebrity Ascent is one, and of course, with the which is debuting a little bit earlier with some special cruises, but also with the restart of Crystal Cruises, that's fantastic too. And another one, of course, is with fun thing too is with American Cruise Lines. They've got new ships coming out, as does other cruise lines too. Any questions from America or not? Because I want to talk more about the new cruise ships coming out this year too.
How are you doing? Glad to have a conversation with you as always. I did see that, of course, you mentioned St. Patrick's Day, and I was looking up things, and I did see that there's actually going to be some things that you can expect on Carnival if you happen to be on Carnival on today and everything. So they said that they were going to be doing St. Patrick's Day trivia, so you can test your knowledge with friends and family and compete against other teams and all in that way. And they were saying play a few rounds of trivia in the Promenade Atrium area while being treated to live Irish music in the background to help enhance the holiday spirit. And they were also having something called the St. Quacky's Duck Hunt. It's an activity suitable for all ages. The Duck Hunt is a carnival classic during St. Patrick's Day. It will have you searching for ducks that have been hidden in various locations around the ship. Be the one that finds the most ducks and win yourself a prize. And then they're having pots of cash drawing in the casino. So try your luck in the casino with these Irish themes, games of chance, and you can be one of 5 lucky guests that will win $1,000 in casino cash. And then last but not least, you can't have St. Patrick's Day without having a St. Patrick's Day pub crawl. And that is what they were doing in Carnival as well. So on St. Patrick's Day celebration, it is complete with like they were saying, is it complete without at least one trip to the local pub? On a cruise with Carnival, you'll get to hop from bar to bar across the ship. You must be 18 plus to participate, 21 plus to drink, and you can enjoy a variety of themed drinks at each location, starting and finishing in the beautiful atrium. You'll enjoy specialty drinks such as green beer, the pot of gold, a ginger shamrock, and baby stout. So that's what some of the folks are doing on this particular day as they are going and enjoying St. Patrick's Day on that particular cruise and all in that space. So that's one of the things that I found out as I was listening to you and all in that space. And there was actually a river cruise that was going to let you hear a little Irish music and also celebrate some of what they were doing. And I believe this one was coming from Chicago. So I'm going to give you a 40-second dose of what was going on in this particular activity as well. And then I'll let you go on and talk about some of the other things. But let's check out this little bit of an Irish tune and some of the things that were going on, I believe, on a riverboat cruise.
Yes. That's great. As mentioned last week, last Saturday is when they actually dyed the river green.
Right.
They do that every year.
Yeah.
And it's fun. I've seen it myself. Okay. But it's fun. They dye the river green. Plus they do their St. Patrick's Day parade too. But once again, it just looks phenomenal.
Yeah,
and
definitely. Definitely.
we need that more than ever. It's a great way to celebrate St. Patrick's Day in a fun way. And it's a little bit earlier, but that's okay because they do it every year. I think the week before,
I think they do it a
let's
little
do
bit earlier.
that Saturday before. Yeah, because one came up too when I was going to graduate school at Loyola Water Tower campus.
Mm-hmm.
And what we did was run a quarter system. So we're done with class in 10 weeks. But what happened was we had a different type of breaks. We had to make up a class on Saturday.
Right.
And of course, this Saturday I had to make up my class. We had a class met on Saturday. We're missing 1 week because they had spring break, whatever. But what happened was I got a chance to actually, I was driving to Chicago that morning and saw them actually dive the River Green, and then saw it afterwards driving back. It was a great experience. A lot of traffic, but once again, you know what? It's good to actually see that beautiful green river water.
Yeah, and that's what we saw in that picture too, was the green river water and all in that space. And I'm actually going to bring up a side. We may not watch all of it, but there was a couple of young ladies that also went on a cruise on St. Patrick's Day last year. I believe they're called the Cruise Sisters, and all in that space. And we'll see if we can't bring that up as well and see if we can show a little bit of what they were doing as they celebrated in 2022. As they went on their cruise and shared a little bit of their experiences as well. So we're going to bring up a little bit of their stuff. We may not bring it all in, but let's check out their celebration of a St. Patrick's Day cruise on last year, the year being 2022, and all in that way. So I think folks will enjoy this, and maybe it'll give them some ideas of the things that they might do as well in that space. So let's check out what this is all about.
Blueberry yogurt, fruits, gluten-free bread, the Carnival ship, Norwegian, another Carnival. All right, we're just sitting on deck 14 having a coffee. We're going to get off. We are in Nassau, Bahamas today. So we're going to go off. Most likely we're going to walk to Junkanoo Beach, which is over behind that Carnival ship that you can see there. So that's our plan today. Nice and sunny.
We're going to wear lots of sunscreen again today and hope for less of a burn.
Yeah, Rach is pretty burnt today, so we'll be protecting our skin. All right, we're just getting ready to head off the ship. We're in Nassau, Bahamas. It's about 28 degrees this morning. So we just lathered up in sunscreen. Oh, Rach, you're so red. So we put on sunscreen. We have our bathing suits on. We grabbed our sunglasses. I have my book. Some more sunscreen to reapply later because it will be a hot one. So yeah, we're going to head off the ship, go find a beach. I think we're going to head to Junkanoo Beach, which we have been there a few times before. It is walking distance from the ship. So that is what we're going to do today. Yeah, we'll get a few clips at the beach. Maybe we'll take some pictures. Maybe get some lunch. All right. See you in a bit. All right, we just left Junkanoo Beach. It did start pouring again on us, so we decided to leave the beach. We're gonna go do some shopping now, and then head back to the ship. Yes. Heading back to the ship. There's Anthem of the Seas right there. This is a Holland America ship. And over there is Atlantis. I think it takes about 40 minutes to get to Atlantis from the cruise port. So keep that in mind if you are planning on doing an excursion out there. The beach that we walked to was only about a 15-minute walk from the cruise port. So I would recommend. It is completely free. You do need to rent the pool chairs and rent the umbrellas. So we rented an umbrella and it was only $10 for the whole day. yeah, we're heading back to our cruise ship. Probably eat some lunch. It's about 2:30 right now. And then we'll go up to the pool.
No, it's not.
Great.
I was like, who else is on here?
Rach, what happened?
I was on the elevator with another lady and we got to her deck and she got off. And when she got off, then the elevator kept repeating itself saying, weight overload, last person on, please get off. Weight overload, last person on.
And how much is the maximum weight that's allowed on there?
20 people.
So you weigh as much as 20 people.
So I had to get off.
Good job. All right, we just grabbed some coffee. We have showered after the beach and we are sailing away from Nassau, Bahamas. This is a beautiful day. We're, I think, about an hour short or an hour behind from our scheduled time to leave. There's Carnival way out there and the Holland America ship. All right, as we're turning out of port, we are actually passing the beach that we went to. So we went to Junkanoo Beach, which was right there, and there is the new Margaritaville Resort. All right, hello. Rach and I are just finishing getting ready. I just finished up my makeup, put on this outfit. I'm wearing a St. Patrick's Day top and the BD jeans from Urban Outfitters and my Air Force Ones. Rachel is wearing the same top that I am, but it has white clovers instead of the green.
The pants are just Topshop from one of those stores, the Bay.
Okay, Rach is curling her hair. Her burn is still pretty bad. I don't think we got more burnt today than we already were. We put a lot of sunscreen on, and we also weren't in the sun for too long because it started to rain and we had an umbrella. Like I said, we rented an umbrella. It was only $10 for the whole entire day. So that wasn't bad. And we were able to walk to the beach. So that also was very nice. On the agenda, we have a headliner show. It starts at 7:15. It is a ventriloquist. So we have that show.
We think we've seen it before.
Yeah.
I'm still pretty excited.
Yeah, we do think that we have seen this ventriloquist before. Michael Harrison is his name, I believe. So we think that we've seen him on another cruise ship previously. So we'll go and check that out. 7:15 is that show, 45 minutes. And then after that, we will go to dinner at around 8 o'clock. And then after that, I think we are going to check out the pub. Since it is St. Patrick's Day, there is an Irish pub on board as well. So we will go and sit there, listen to some live music. There's a guitarist that plays there pretty much every night. And then after that, there is a Battle of the Sexes game show. And that's at 10:30. There's also adult karaoke at 10:30. And what else do we have on, Rach? That might be it, I think. Yeah, and then we'll go to the club afterwards. So we are day 5. We have 3 more nights, including tonight. Tomorrow is this.
I'll take that off right now and everything. But as you can say, they definitely had some St. Patrick's Day like activities going on, and they definitely even dressed in their St. Patrick's Day costumes. And they mentioned some of the things that they were going to, including a ventriloquist.
Right.
They was playing Irish music. Of course, they were going to the Irish parade. I mean, not the parade, but the Irish pub as well. So definitely that was what was going on in that St. Patrick's Day like theme. And I did hear them talking about the fact that on that cruise, and I guess on other cruises, you can rent those umbrellas. And I know you've talked about renting bikes. So they definitely try to make sure that they are prepared for whatever is going on, because you know the weather is going to do what the weather is going to do. And of course, as those young ladies were saying, if you're going to go there and it's going to be hot, you might want to put on your sunscreen. So I thought that was interesting as well. So there was a couple of points that they brought up, everything from the sunscreen to the Irish activities to a number of other things, including those $10 umbrellas and all in that space. But that was just a clip from, I think they're called the Cruise Sisters or something along
Okay,
those
that
lines.
makes
But
sense. Yes,
yeah,
it does make sense. Yeah, because with the umbrellas they rented, that was actually when they went to Juckanoo Beach. They
mhm,
rented them there,
right.
which is great. It wasn't owned by the cruise line. Once again, you can go to the beach and just rent things too, because I've done that before too. A good example is they've got a beautiful beach in St. Martin's gorgeous, and they
Mhm.
got beautiful beaches on the French side of the island. We actually have gone there several times in the past. We could actually rent chairs or umbrellas, whatever, too, just in case it got a little hot.
Yeah.
So you have the option too, you know.
That makes a lot of sense. And you had mentioned earlier, and I was going to bring it up because I never got rid of them, and we traveled them before. And you mentioned that we've had it before, and I never got rid of this. At least I don't think I did. I'm going to double check because we're always shifting in things and all in that space. But I do still have that 4-minute video about the brothers that were named co-captains. So if you like to, we can watch that again. So I do have that 5-minute video about the brothers that were named co-captain. I thought that was a great segment last time, and I don't see why we don't repeat that segment. So
Yes,
it
I
is
love.
already.
When I saw that, it would just make me smile so much because they were making this big announcement. Lisa Lutoff Pearl, the president of Celebrity Cruises, they didn't say what the big announcement was. Come on, come on, come on. What is it? And then of course she has them come out. It's just hysterical. It was so much fun because once again, I love the ending too. But let's definitely watch that because once again, as mentioned, Celebrity Ascent is a ship that these gentlemen are co-captains of. They're brothers. They get along. One is 11 years older than the other brother, but they're great. They get along. They're going to be co-captains. And once again, with Celebrity Ascent, what they're doing prior to her actual official naming christening ceremony, they decided to two shorter cruises before she's actually christened and named in November. So it gives people to really kind of jump on it and experience the ship before she is officially christened. I thought, I want to check into that. That sounds great.
Yeah,
Yes.
so we'll check out this official announcement that they made a while back, but it's still very relevant, as you said, today.
Yes.
So let's check out this announcement that they made and watch these brothers having fun. And I can relate because my brother and me have fun as well. And there's a 7-year gap between us since I was born in
Yes.
62 and he was born in 69. But let's check out
Okay.
these brothers that have an 11-year gap.
Yeah.
I am thrilled to be here today to announce the captain of Celebrity Ascent, the Amazing Edge series. They bring their own spirit and energy to the ship and our crew. And so I would like to eliminate all the suspense and announce that the captain of Celebrity Ascent is Captain Kafajis. Oh, did I forget to say there are 2 of them? For the first time ever, Celebrity Cruises has 2 captains. So gentlemen, I happen to know you both really, really well. We've worked together for 15 or 16 years. And a lot of our guests have sailed with you, and some of them know a little bit about you. But they nor I know a lot about you. So let's roll video and learn about your amazing lives.
My name is Dimitrios Kafetsis. I am from Port of Athens, Piraeus, in Greece. I graduated the Captain's Academy of Syros, and I am a captain with Celebrity Cruises for the last 19 years. 33 years altogether at sea with Celebrity Cruises. My personal milestone and best moment was when I became a captain at the age of 36, being by then the youngest and by far the funniest captain on the fleet, only to live enough to have my brother breaking this record at the age of 34. Bless you, Tassos. I will never forget you for this. My relationship with my brother can be described as father-son relationship and not brothers, since we have 11 years difference with Tassos. I know my pretty face fool you, but there are 11 years difference. When I first heard that I was going to be the captain of the Ascent, and together with my brother, 2 brothers to start a ship for the company we love.
My name is Tassos Kafetsis, and I'm a captain on board Celebrity Cruises. The reason I came to the maritime industry is because of my brother. He's my role model. I was so influenced by him, so I applied for Celebrity Cruises that my brother was working already. And I joined Celebrity Century back in 1998, when it was brand new. And I moved on, and 25 years later, here I am as a captain. Since we became a captain, we didn't have the opportunity to work together, and we're always saying how fun it would be if we could do a contract together, even as captains. Now, to do that together with an opening of the newest vessel of Celebrity Cruises, it's like a dream come true.
When he first became a captain, I gave him a Mont Blanc pen and a Warren bead with a cross and an evil eye, and I said to him, have it in your pocket, and when you think that you are helpless, just put your hand in your pocket, rub it, and it's gonna be there.
You mean this one? That's you?
Yep.
Him.
I would say that I might be the prototype, but he is the newer, better version. Captain 2.0, if I may say.
He changed the way captains interact with their guests and the crew. He opened up a big window for all the captains to follow.
Not only congratulations, but thank you. It's such a pleasure and an honor to work with both of you every day, and I can't wait to be on the stage with you on Celebrity Ascent.
Yes.
I bet, knowing the two of you, you are going to have a lot of fun with the guests.
When we both would be dressed up as captains on the ship, I will go talk to them first, and then I claim that I had to go, leave, and Tassos come back and carry on what I started and see if they're going to pick it up. And I guarantee
Are they going to get a prize or something if they do pick it up?
They're going to get a dinner with the captain.
Oh, how fun. There you
With
go.
this captain.
With that captain.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome aboard. This is your captain, Captain Cafetzis of the Celebrity Ascent.
No. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome aboard. This is your captain, Captain Cafetzis of the Celebrity Ascent.
No, this is your captain, Captain Cafetzis of the Celebrity Ascent.
No. This is the captain, Captain Cafetzis of the Celebrity Ascent.
Τι κάνεις εδώ πέρα, ήρθες στο καράβι να μου κάνεις το καφετέρι. Τι είναι αυτά που λες τώρα, μαζί θα παίξουμε τώρα.
I love that. I mean, when I
love that one as well. Hey, Cindy, I've got something else that you might be interested in also that I had not thought about. But, we oftentimes think, and we've had some different shows about different ports and different places that people have been to. And
Yes.
of course, we think about New York, we think about Texas, we think about Florida, of course, and everything. But apparently there is a push to have Buffalo as a port city as well. So I don't know if you've been following that or anything, but there is a effort, and a lot of people may not be thinking about that, to have Buffalo as a port city as well. So had you been hearing anything about that? Because I'm going to bring up the video that I found about this, because there is an effort to get Buffalo as a port city. So let's see what they've got to say about Buffalo, which is up there in upstate New York, becoming a port city.
Okay.
At some point, the weather will finally turn, and it's going to be nice enough to go for a boat ride. But that soon might be much more than sailboats. Cruise ships already bring tourists to the other big ports across Lake Erie, and local developers say the time has come to bring them to Buffalo. They're working with national cruise lines to try and...
Oops.
Now, at some point, the weather will finally turn, and it's going to be nice enough to go for a boat ride. But that soon might be much more than sailboats. Cruise ships already bring tourists. Now, at some point,
Well, let's see if I can get this
the weather will
past that point.
with national cruise lines to try and make that happen.
We just think we have so much to offer the industry.
Can the Buffalo Niagara region establish itself as an attractive port for the growing cruise ship industry on the Great Lakes? That's the focus of a new study the Erie Canal Harbor Development Corporation is proposing.
So we thought it was time to just, take an honest look and study about the possibility of bringing cruise ships here. What would that mean to Buffalo? What does it mean to the waterfront and actually to the industry as a whole?
Cruise ships have operated for years on the Great Lakes with successful ports in Cleveland, Detroit, and Toronto. This feasibility study would see if it makes sense to add Buffalo and our growing list of attractions into the mix.
The last 10, 15 years, not just the waterfront, but Buffalo has so much to offer throughout its cultural attractions, sports, just you name it, food, everything. So it's a good time for us, and we're really excited about the opportunities, and we'll see where it goes.
One of the areas being looked at as a potential home port for the cruise industry here in Buffalo is the DL&W terminal. a waterfront asset that has sat underutilized for years.
Well, look, I mean, if there's a facility out there that can, be rehabilitated right on the water, it's a historic structure. We've all been looking for uses for that for years. There's been a lot of different ideas. That might be a way to really turn around quickly and get cruise ships here on a much faster schedule than certainly having to go and build a new facility elsewhere.
New construction at the Michigan Pier is also being looked at as part of this study, which is expected to be approved by the ECHTC by the end of the month.
There's different lines running different cruise opportunities. So they're here, right? They're not far away. It's just a city or two down the lake. And so, like I said, as they grow, right, as the industry goes, we just want to make sure that we're really a part of the mix.
Yeah, and the hope once again.
So what do you think? Cruise industry
And is to have that plan for the study approved by the end of the month. Interesting.
So what's your take on that, Cindy, and everything? So do you think that that's something they need to be looking at, is the cruise industry in Buffalo? Because that is something that they are thinking about, is the cruise industry over there in Buffalo and all in that space. So what are your thoughts that we need to have the cruise industry coming to Buffalo? And is that a good thing for the industry and everything? And all
I
in
think
that
so, because once again, too, it goes back to what they've done over the years. Originally, when you think of cruising years ago, where'd you sail out of? Port Miami, right? That was it.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Alaska, you had to go to Vancouver.
Mhm.
And over the years, what they did was they had a chance to finally really promote Seattle, building beautiful ports right there, gorgeous. And of course, with Seattle being in the US, it's easy to get to when you're flying. I actually sailed out of Vancouver myself. What I did in my case is I actually took a flight into Seattle. Then I took a beautiful company that has service through. It's a really beautiful motorcoach service. They go specifically from, they're based in Vancouver, but they offer services from Seattle Airport, other areas going into Canada. I did that myself. It's a beautiful ride, 3 hours, but gorgeous. Plus they also had approval to go through say approved type things too. It was great. But once again, there are different options. We think about how cruise lines have really been expanding. And of course, for them to sail out of Galveston is one example.
Mhm.
Okay. Also, as mentioned, New York, because with MSC Meraviglia, she's going to start sailing out of New York City starting this April year round, which is great. I'll see the new ship myself on April 21st. They're going to fly me there to see the ship. And also we're seeing a growth as far as different areas too. Port Everglades really grew like crazy. Besides, of course, Port Miami, which was the base of cruising 3 years ago. But once again, too, is another big one is Port Canaveral, which is an hour away from Orlando.
Right.
And originally, I'd actually sailed out of Port Canaveral when I sailed on another cruise line back in the 1990s, Premier Cruise Line, which is actually the official cruise line of Walt Disney World before Disney started their own cruise line. That's where they sailed out of. But once again, it's great because it was like less than an hour to go there. And you got a chance to see beautiful areas too. And so that was another area. In fact, this year, I think this year right now, is Port Canaveral has really been taken off the roof as far as cruise lines sailing out of there. They've had more passengers sail out of Port Canaveral right now than I think out of Miami.
Well,
and you're seeing growth as far as, sometimes they're bringing back cruises to sail out of California, which they hadn't done in a while. But once again, another big area I love myself too is flying in and sailing out of San Juan, Puerto Rico. Because when you go down to San Juan, Puerto Rico to sail out, you can see more of the Southern Caribbean islands, which I think are gorgeous. Of course, with Bermuda, if you want to go to Bermuda, you sail out of New York City, which I did a long time ago. And once again, too, is with the Great Lakes, with American Queen Voyages, they actually have some of the ships that actually do their Great Lakes cruises from Chicago through the Great Lakes up to Canada and back, which is great. So it's just more options out there more than ever. And so this is interesting as far as Buffalo, New York, because as mentioned, they've got that DLW terminal.
right.
I would need to be, of course, renovated, of course, but that makes it easier too than trying to build a brand new cruise ship terminal,
That makes a lot of sense. Well, like I said, that was some of the things I was going to bring up, the St. Patrick's Day stuff as well as the Buffalo, but I'm going to let you get back to the rest of the show. I know we're winding down, but definitely it's always great having Good Ship Happens. And of course, you're bringing all kinds of amazing conversations about the cruise ship industry and the travel industry. So I'm going to bounce off, but that was some of the immediate questions that I had.
Great, great. Well, as mentioned, we've got at least 19 new cruise ships launching in this year, 2023. I mentioned Celebrity Ascent, of course, for the co-captains, which I think is phenomenal. And hopefully I get a chance to meet the gentlemen. They sound fantastic, and I just love it, and how the one brother inspired the other brother to get into that industry too. As mentioned, we've got American Cruise Lines. They've got their new American Serenade Riverboat debuting, of course, this year. And also they've got welcoming 2 new coastal cruise ships, the American Eagle and the American Glory. And then the American Glory is going to be the first of their 12 planned vessels in their new line's Coastal Cat series, known as Project Blue. And they'll begin sailing on the East Coast in August and October of this year. So that's great too. And then, of course, the Carnival Jubilee is Carnival Cruise Line's newest ship coming out, which is great. We've got also Celebrity Ascent, which I've talked about. And we've got Explorer Journeys, which is a new luxury cruise line coming out this summer. And it's luxury, bringing the ocean life to sea as their name tag. The Explorer one is going to actually be debuting this summer. And she'll be commencing her sailing starting in July this year. And she'll first start sailing from Southampton in the United Kingdom. And as far as the size of their ships, once again, it's high-end luxury. And the Explorer one will have 922 guests, which is great. It's not huge, but once again, it gives that luxury experience plus the ocean life to see, which is great. And of course, we've got some other ships coming out too. We've got, for instance, MSC Cruises has their MSC Eurobia, which is going to be debuting in June this year. And it's their 3rd class Meraviglia type ship. And she's going to be introduced in Northern Europe, departing from Germany and then sailing to the Norwegian fjords. Another one that's exciting too is we've got Norwegian Cruise Line, the Norwegian Viva. And it's actually a sister ship to their Norwegian Prima. And she's going to be debuting this August. And once again, it's just a great thing. What they're doing is because they've got some different things they're doing as far as featuring different types of culinary offerings. They're going to have a go-kart racetrack and more when she arrives, which is great too. Another one we've got is Virgin Voyages. It's their 3rd ship coming out this year, the Resilient Lady, and she's going to be launching in May, initially from Athens, Greece, and then expanding into Australia. And once again, it's actually, adults only cruising. You have to be 18 years or older to sail on Virgin Voyages. Something else I just wrote about, just got published, was about the Scenic Eclipse 2. This is actually Scenic Luxury Cruises and Tours, and it's their 2nd ship coming out, sister ship. And the Scenic Eclipse 2 is going to have another pair of helicopters, updated pool deck, whatever, but it's luxury, but also a beautiful experience too. And her first sailing will be a voyage traveling from Lisbon to Barcelona. And she will be similar to their previous ship, which is Scenic Eclipse. Something else is actually Seabourn Cruise Line, which is luxury. And the Seabourn Pursuit is going to be debuting this year in September, I think this year, yes. And she's bearing the design of their Seabourn Venture, which is a luxury ship too, and be offering sailings from the Arctic to Antarctica, also remote areas too. And the Region 7 Seas, which is actually another luxury cruise line, they actually have their 7 Seas Grandeur sailing out. That's their 3rd sister ship to the 7 Seas Explorer and also 7 Seas Splendor. And then we've got some other ships coming out too. We've got, for instance, we've got Oceania Cruises, which is another luxury cruise line, but the Vista's coming out, and it's their latest design and class of ships. She's going to start sailing. The Vista will be sailing in May, and she's their first new ship in a decade. Okay. Once again, it's going to be a little bit larger than their preceding 2 other ships with Oceania Cruises, the Marina, and also Riviera Marine Voyage is going to begin in the Mediterranean. And we've got some other companies too that are offering ships too, which is great. But once again, there's so many different choices to think about too, whether you prefer a larger ship, smaller ship, luxury, more the expedition type of thing. There are options out there like crazy, which is great. And another one is with Viking. They've actually got not one, but two different ocean ships scheduled to debut in this year, 2023. The Viking Neptune is their 8th ocean ship. She just got christened, I guess, this month. But also their 9th ship, the Viking Saturn, is going to debut in April this year, which is really, really great too. And it's going to show those kinds of stories too, because once again, there's so many options out there to think about when you're thinking about taking a cruise, whether you want something big, smaller, depending where you want to sail from. And once again, with the ships, you've got so many options as far as cuisine, as mentioned with Crystal Cruises bringing back Chef Nobu, which is great. And of course, you've got other cruise lines that have great chefs on board too. Same thing with the Celebrity Ascent too, which I'll share about later. But once again, thanks for joining me today in Good Ship Happens, because there's so many wonderful things going on right now in the cruise industry and options to think about and choose from. And for instance, we mentioned something about Carnival having some special things as far as St. Patrick's Day, but other cruise lines also do the same thing too. So once again, they do have special events that they do if you're sailing during a certain kind of holiday, which is great. It's fantastic to experience these other things too.
Yeah, no doubt. And like I said, another amazing show where we shared a lot of things that are going on in the cruise industry, and you did a great job. I think that we'll go out, if it's okay with you, with that minute-long commercial with the J-Lo, and of course, the
I love that. I love that because the Resilient Lady is going to debut this year too. That's their new ship coming out. Third ship, yes. So
we'll go out with that one, but another amazing episode, and we'll be back next Friday with more information about what's going on in the cruise industry and all in that space. But definitely another amazing show, and we'll go out with Sir Richard and J-Lo hanging out together.
Hi, Richard. How you doing?
Ahoy, Jennifer. Lovely to see you. I'm so excited we're partnering on Virgin Voyages.
Yeah, I'm really excited too, but I was thinking that maybe before we announce it, that we should decide on my official title at Virgin Voyages.
Yes, and I already have a few options for you.
Okay.
What about something catchy like, don't be fooled by the ship that I got. I'm now Jenny from the dock.
Okay.
Dame Jennifer Lopez.
Isn't there like a paperwork and like a sword involved?
Supreme Goddess of Mermaids.
You know what? Let's just tackle the title thing later. I'm just excited to share our gorgeous ships with the whole world.
Okay. Look, I'll brainstorm a little more and catch up soon on it. Mermaid in Manhattan?